Happening, folks. I have made over 160 videos on this channel so far, which would have been over 190 videos if it wasn't for these two kind, caring corporate entities. And I basically try to do the same thing with every one of my videos. I take you through the major story beats, I explain what I think are the movie's merits and failures using examples from the movie. If it's a movie you've already seen, maybe I will be able to help you see it from a slightly different angle. And if it's something you haven't seen, hopefully I will be able to help you decide whether you want to see it or not. With today's movie, for the first time ever, I am pretty sure, I wasn't able to come to a final verdict. I'm going to take you through the plot like I normally do, but I'm going to do it in a way that hopefully helps you understand why I had so much trouble deciding whether or not I would recommend this movie. Written and directed by Osgood Perkins, this is the... That is the monkey, too. I don't know how that got down here. It's not mine. I found it up in the attic last month when I moved in. Not that you care about that. I will put it back up in the attic after the video's done. This is the monkey. The movie opens with a tone-setting prologue. A man named Peter enters a pawn shop covered in blood and clutching a monkey. The shop owner points to this sign, but Peter tells him it's definitely no toy. Then Peter begs the man to take the damned thing from him, as it's been nothing but trouble since he found it. The shopkeeper starts his bargaining routine by pointing out the monkey's broken drumstick, but Peter assures him immediately if that broken drumstick comes down, they're both going to end up in hell. This intrigues the shop owner, and then, right on cue, the monkey starts drumming, while a rat starts gnawing on a rope off camera at the same time. And while the shop owner's smirking at Peter's superstitions, the rope snaps, launching a harpoon directly at the pragmatic proprietor. The drum sounds again, and the harpoon goes right back where it came from, taking the man's insides along with it. Peter takes a flamethrower to the monkey over the opening credits, while the narrator is saying...
I don't know if every father passes some secret horror on to his kids, but mine sure did.
I can't make a recommendation for this movie one way or another because of that statement. Exactly 5 minutes in, and we've already been told everything we need to know about this movie's emotional core or the driving force behind the story. But your average moviegoer is not going to have picked that up. I'll elaborate on this as we're going along. We jump to 1999, which was one of my favorite years. Not that you asked. We meet Peter's twin sons, Hal and Bill. Having eaten the lion's share of their mother's placenta, Bill is the self-proclaimed big brother. He is also what medical professionals now refer to commonly as a total dick. Their mother Lois uses her opening dialogue to let us know their father, the man in the opening scene, walked out on the family. As they're digging through their dad's belongings, the boys find the titular monkey. The box says, "Like life itself," and there's a tag saying, "Turn the key if they want to see something amazing." Being 3 minutes older and a dick, Bill takes ownership of it, turns the key, the monkey smiles at him, and raises its arm. And when nothing else happens, he chucks it back to Hal, assuming that it's broken. Annie the nanny, or Annie Wilkes, more specifically, in a Stephen King Easter egg I don't understand beyond the name reference, takes the boys to a Japanese restaurant for dinner. The monkey's already in the car when they get out there. While they're inside, Annie the nanny seems taken by the chef. While he's cooking up some romance for them, the monkey moves into the metaphorical driver's seat, providing the background music to Nanny Annie's unceremonious decapitation. At her funeral, the priest turns the ceremony into an amateur stand-up routine, and then Lois comforts her young, vulnerable boys by assuring them everybody else they know is gonna die eventually too. And on that somber note, she gets everybody up and dancing, and for a moment, Lois, Bill, and Hal forget their troubles and dance together like a real family. And Hal thinks it's the best day he's ever had. I think we can agree this movie has gotten off to a pretty crazy start. If you're here for the gore, you've probably got a big smile on your face already. If you're a fan of the horror comedy aspects, you might already be tickled by the blatant dark undertones. But beyond all that, you might also sense something feels kinda off with the overall tone, even this early into the story. When Hal comes home the next day, the monkey is in his room, but Lois didn't put it there. That makes Hal wonder about its abilities, and his curiosity results in Bill transferring ownership to Hal, after a bit of brotherly humiliation, of course. The next afternoon, after a terrible day in school, made even worse by his own brother, Hal cranks the monkey up and hopes quietly for his brother Bill to die. But when the drumming starts, it's Mother who pays the price in the kitchen, while brother Bill is forced to watch, helplessly. They're told it was a massive aneurysm. Hal doesn't believe it had anything to do with bulging blood vessels, but he keeps his thoughts to himself. He remembers the monkey's box saying, "like life," and the big joke starts sinking in. But big brother Bill doesn't deal with the death half as well as Hal is appearing to. Uncle Chip and his wife Ida take over parenting duties, which is as scary a prospect as the monkey's drumstick, when we find out he and Ida are openly swingers. Determined to end the monkey's reign of terror, Hal hacks off its arm and its head that night, and it bleeds, and he dumps it in a garbage can before the boys move off to Maine with their uncle and aunts. But the monkey rejoins its rightful owner that very same night. The boys' curiosity gets them turning the key again to test a theory. Uncle Chip dies in a hunting accident as a result, trampled by wild horses, naturally, disproving their theory beyond the shadow of a pulverized, bloody doubt. After that, the boys toss the monkey down a well until they can figure out how to detach themselves from it properly. And it works. Until one night, 25 years later, when Aunt Ida's woken up in the middle of the night by a strange sound.
As she's investigating this sound, she falls face first into a box of Uncle Chip's fishing lures, prior to setting her own face on fire, prior to ending herself on the corner of the for sale sign outside on the lawn. And that all sounds pretty sore if you... Watch the movie. Watch the scene yourself.
Then we meet Hal as an adult, and he hasn't seen brother Bill in a few years. Adult Hal has a son named Petey, who he only sees once a year to protect him from the monkey mayhem. And during this year's visit, he learns his ex's husband is adopting Petey because Hal never sees him anyway. Elsewhere, Ricky, played by not now or ever Michael Myers, swings by a garage sale at Ida's and sees the monkey sitting on a table. And when not Michael Myers touches the monkey, he has a vision of his own father, who is not in his life either. Back home, his mother suggests he sells it, as a fella up the road's been posting ads looking for one just like it for ages. Meanwhile, in a hotel, Petey asks if Hal has any brothers or sisters. Hal says no, but he tells him his mom's name was Lois. Later that night, he's woken up by a call from brother Bill, who tells him Aunt Ida is dead. During the call, a woman steps onto the diving board next to the pool, right as a heating unit falls into the water. So Hal packs his half-sleeping son into the car and they hightail it out of there. But his son is fed up, so he gives his estranged dad an ultimatum. Either he comes along wherever Hal is going, or they're done. Period. Hal thinks about what Lois would have done in this situation, and that sends him into a memory of his mother telling him to try and learn to accept life as it is. So Hal brings Petey to Aunt Ida's house, where they're greeted by a real estate agent who tells them several people have died terrible deaths on the property since Aunt Ida passed. While she's showing Hal around, young Petey finds out not only that he has an uncle, but that Hal and Bill are twins. And then the real estate agent's blown to bits by a shotgun blast when she opens the basement door. And if you slow everything right down, it's a pretty brilliant effect. The police arrive and tell Hal to grab a motel for the time being. Brother Bill calls again and tells him he'll meet him at the hotel, and that's when Hal realizes Bill's obviously nearby. And that realization leads to the realization Bill must have reactivated the monkey and caused all these random deaths. We then learn, right after they dropped it in the well as kids, it dawned on Bill Hal had wound the monkey up and killed their mother. Bill spent the rest of his life tracking it down and hating Hal and posting ads in search of the monkey all over town. And it turns out Bill's the guy who bought the monkey from not Michael Myers earlier on. As soon as Bill got it, he started turning the key, hoping Hal would die, but everybody else did. Then not Michael Myers shows up at Bill's wanting the monkey back because it reminds him of his absent father. But Bill says no, and that makes not Michael Myers not very happy. Now that he's figured out Big Brother Bill wants to kill him with the monkey, Hal's only priority is protecting his son. And when Big Brother Bill phones again, he tells Hal the only way to ensure Petey's safety is to make him the one that keeps turning the monkey's key, as they both know the one who turns the key is never the one that dies. When Hal tries ushering Petey into the car to take him home again, Petey puts his foot down again. He doesn't want to be adopted. He wants Hal in his life, but Hal tells him being adopted would be the best thing for him, but he doesn't tell him why. Then the police arrive, except it's not the police, and it's not Michael Myers either. At Bill's house, young Petey's forced to sneak in through the doggy door around back to steal the monkey. When he gets inside, he finds the place is booby-trapped top to bottom, but he makes it through. Then he meets the uncle he didn't know he had until the day before. Bill makes him turn the key, and the drumming sets off not Michael Myers' gun, piercing a hornet's nest in front of the car. And when the drum struck again, the entire hornet population beelines it down not Michael Myers' throat.
You see what I did there? Beelines it. Beelines. I wrote. Hit the like button.
But back inside, the monkey goes bonkers. Half the world outside the house collapses, with half the town's innocent residents along with it. After Hal reunites with Petey inside, he snaps at Bill for endangering his son and killing so many innocent people. So Bill finally confesses he wanted Hal to pay for killing their mother with the monkey all those years ago.
Now that prompts Hal to deliver a monologue to his brother. Osgood Perkins wrote the monologue for us in the audience, but he also wrote it for himself. He tells his brother what happened wasn't his fault because it wasn't anybody's fault. Everybody dies. It's just how life is. Neither of them deserve what happened to them, and he knows exactly how Bill feels because she was his mother too. He tells Bill how much he wishes they could have been there for each other when they were younger, and then they both apologize. Because you see, Bill and Hal represent the two distinct halves of Osgood Perkins' personality in real life, and he's using this monkey movie as a vehicle to help him work through some of his own personal losses.
His father, Anthony Perkins, passed away from AIDS complications in 1992, and 9 years later, his mother, Barry Berenson, died tragically as a passenger on American Airlines Flight 11 during the 9/11 attacks. The monkey's curse in this movie is an expression of Osgood's feeling cursed himself as a young man.
If the deaths in this movie felt inexplicable and arbitrary, I don't think it's difficult to understand those same feelings resulting from the unexpected death of both of your young, successful, famous parents. Now, obviously, the monkey's examination of strained father-son relationships was directly influenced by Anthony Perkins' own struggles to hide his sexuality and maintain a fake public persona for sake of appearances. And the passing of the monkey from Peter to his sons is a simple metaphor for the handing down of generational trauma.
With the fences mended, Hal invites Bill to join them on the remainder of their father-son road trip. Right before he agrees to come, the monkey strikes his drum one final time. The irony of the moment triggers one of Bill's own booby traps, and his head's taken off by his mother's bowling ball. The movie closes with father and son driving home through their demolished town. It's upsetting, but as the narrative's been trying to show us, it's also a part of life. They agree going forward to keep an eye on the monkey and to stay alert and to never let their guards down. And as they're agreeing, Death appears on his pale horse, with Hal surely following. After acknowledging each other, Death moves on. Hal's reminded of the best day of his life. So he tells Pete they're gonna go dancing. When Pete asks where the hell that idea came from, he tells him it came from his mother. But Pete thinks that's pretty cool. Then a few seconds later, Hal does follow when a passing truck takes the heads off a school bus full of innocent cheerleaders.
If you knew about Osgood's personal life before you watched The Monkey, as I did, you probably really enjoyed the metaphor and the message he was conveying with this story. But if you didn't, I absolutely understand why people couldn't click with this movie. The pacing would have felt completely off, the tone would have felt all over the place, and everything else would have felt random and totally unpredictable. Exactly like life. If you've seen The Monkey already, I would love to know what you thought about it down in the comments section. As always, thank you very much for watching the video. I am going to take that stupid thing back up to the attic now. And until next time, folks.